What's going on, traders? John with Tactical Trading here with OTC Saturday. Welcome back after a long hiatus. Took about a month off. The OTC markets, I mean, obviously there was really nothing to write home about. We pretty much got beat up since the beginning of the year, but I think right now we're at a time where I think the OTC market may heat up. People are looking for securities to make a quick buck on. Not very many that I'm looking at as long holds. A lot of these plays you can make a good buck on the front side of the move, but once the back side of the move comes, if there's no news to push it, typically traders are now moving on to the next trade. Not saying that any of these are not good for long-term plays, but right now trading and short-term swings are primary, especially, I mean, and this is my personal opinion, this is the way I'm attacking the market. We're going to start with one play I think has major potential, a lot of long-term potential, and definitely some short-term potential. This is Digital Utility Ventures, DUTV, closed at 0.009, up 23% on Friday on 41 million in volume. These guys earlier in the week, take a look at the chart here. We're looking at the last 3 months. Just broke these right around 60 highs just a couple days ago on Thursday, and really just on pretty darn good volume has had a heck of a run here now. Let's take a look at the share structure. And right now this thing is overbought. If we look at the share structure, there's only a little over $500 million held at the DTC and $1.2 billion on the unrestricted. They had come out with some news that they have a new CEO. The new CEO is Mark GLCO, and you can just go through and read here. He's got numerous companies that he has private that he's looking to take public. Again, this is overbought. I do love this play for over the next 3-4 weeks, but I do believe we are going to get a pullback to the mid 60s area and maybe low 60s. I would not be pushing and buying anywhere up here in the high 80s, 90s. I would kind of let this thing come back to me. This thing is pushing close to 80 on the RSI right now. On the daily chart, let's take a look. Yeah, this thing's a tad bit overbought on the daily, so I think we could get a pull. I mean, this thing could run, breaks a penny, and who knows where this thing goes. A lot of catalysts coming up. I would imagine some reverse mergers coming in. This is something that I really like, but I would probably wait to get me a pullback on this one. In fact, I took some on Wednesday and then ended up selling a little bit on Friday and waiting for a pullback to reload on what I sold. But every stock I go into, I have with my main objective, and that is to get my capital that I put in out of it. So I'm working with house money. And right now in this market, that should be a primary objective to everybody that's trading OTC right now. The buy and hold diamond hands crap doesn't, I've never subscribed to that, and I've done just fine with my flesh hands. But love DUTV. Moving on to the next one, and again, this is one I would be just kind of waiting for a little bit of a pullback to jump in, and I think this one could continue. This one, in my opinion, could do multiple pennies, depending on what companies are rolling in here. But the CEO does have some ammunition going into this one. Next one, one of my favorite plays, and been on this one for quite some time. This is CYBL Corporation, CYBL, closed at 0.0167. You see we had quite a bit of a rally after we hit these lows of 0.0075 the prior week. Had a strong week this week on some news, and looks like on Friday this thing did it had a run, ran up to the 220s, and then right where it broke the 200 the 200-day moving average, and it did not hold that pull back below into bear territory. I do think with catalyst coming up that, I mean, look at the volume here, 115 million in volume. And if we take a look, they have CYBL says they have a business update. We are wrapping up the month and expect February status early next week. So we should have a catalyst early next week. Operation Alpha was in full motion in February. And you can take a look at, they have a distinct roadmap. The corporate business update, you can go here on their Twitter page and all the catalysts that these guys have coming up. So I am very, very, very bullish on Cyberlux. I think what we need to do, this needs to get a little bit of, get an update or get some news on Monday, Tuesday. If this thing can break that 200 moving average and sustain and hold that, there's really no resistance up to the high twos, 260s, what area, 267 area, 261 area. I got to look at it, but in the 260s, we may hit a little resistance, but I think this thing can easily get to the 3 area with some news. Once it breaks that 200 moving average, we get back into bullish territory. I think this thing has a lot of potential here. So as always, very bullish on Cyberlux. Another play, and this is INTK, Industrial Nanotech, closed at 328. You look at the chart, this thing has had a nice run, flagging nicely on the chart on the 3-month. We broke this channel we've had here right around the 2 area for quite some time, and this thing ran all the way up to 5 cents, has pulled back now to the low 3s. I think we can get a pullback to the high 2s or maybe low 3s, maybe 3. I'd be looking for an area. If you're interested in getting into this one, I'd be definitely looking at that 3 level for a bounce. Had about 8 million in volume, so nothing heavy, but definitely like INTK, especially with the deal that they have with their nanotech insulation on oil tankers. I think this is something that really has a chance to, be a long-term runner this year. Something you could either trade on several occasions by using channels, using support and resistance, or holding it and looking back at it. Same with Cyberlux. You buy it now and you look in a year, you might be pretty happy where you're sitting. But me, I prefer to trade. I'm not a buy and hold guy. We've known that since the beginning of the channel. I don't buy and hold. I buy, I trade. I take my profits. I manipulate my situation in my position to where I can get my initial investment out with some profits. Then I'm able to decide what I want to do with the balance, whether it's add to it, sell it, or trade it. But you definitely want to get your initial investment out of these securities prior to making any further decisions like that. But definitely like INTK. Now, as we know, however you sit politically, we know we have a geopolitical firestorm going on right now. We have a situation where Russia has invaded Ukraine. However you feel, whatever the situation is, it doesn't matter. What matters is there is complete turmoil. You have to understand that oil and gas commodities will be affected. Inflation. Now, don't let these goofball lying politicians tell you anything otherwise, to tell you that this Russia-Ukraine situation has anything to do right now with the current inflation situation. You have to keep in mind, and this will be stated, I'm going to have a State of the OTC speech by Sunday evening. I'll put that on the channel, but stated in that, it's obvious the last 3 administrations have put an enormous amount of debt on this country, and that goes back from Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden, but mainly Obama, Trump, and Biden. They have absolutely sloshed our our debt. This country is in debt that it cannot repay. When you print 80% of the money that is in circulation right now has been printed over the last 2 years. So you keep that in mind. I mean, we're OTC traders. We know about dilution, right? Well, they're diluting the U.S. dollar. Make no mistake, they are trying to crash the dollar. So be smart and play accordingly. The U.S. dollar is not going to be around for very, very much longer. But again, you have to keep in mind. You have to keep these. I mean, you can't just look at these stocks and think that these external events don't have an effect on them. Now, the OTC is typically insulated from these type of events, but the fact is, when it's the potential of World War III, it's going to have an effect. So play accordingly. Now, what sectors do I like going forward? I definitely think the sectors that are going to work are basically all commodities. Commodities will definitely do well. Now, as far as the OTC, I mean, do you really have defense contractors in the OTC that are going to get contracts with major, with the Department of Defense or anything? We might have CyberLux, but other than that, you really don't have much that are going to be affected by military spending or government spending or things of that nature. These are basically sympathy plays that are going to get pulled along from the larger plays that are actually getting the funds and getting the business. But again, commodities I do like. Gold and silver plays I do like. Oil and gas I do like. I do like crypto plays and definitely cybersecurity plays. Now, if we want to take a look at some cybersecurity plays, I hear a lot of people talking about JPEX. I prefer VISM. I'm sorry. I'm just not a fan of anything that Frank has touched. He has pulled some foul, and I don't understand how his supporters still beat his drum like he's some great guy when he has literally scammed you right in front of your faces. Literally right in front of your faces, and it's okay. He's a good guy. He means it. Man, get off that nonsense. Wake up, people. Come on. These people don't like you. They don't love you. They don't know you. They don't care about you. They're looking to make a quick buck off your expense. But anyways, VISM, not a big fan long term. Can care less about this play long term. But you're gonna get some play, some action, some movement in this. Take a look at the chart, and now I can tell you we have some movement now. This thing had a huge couple of days, ran from the the low dubs of 20 almost up to 60 something, 59, 60. I ended up getting in the high 20s, low 30s, ended up getting out at 58 as I tweeted, and ended up holding on to a portion of it, but then sold it the following day as this thing showed weakness. So made a decent profit on it. Definitely looking at this one for a re-entry. As you can see, 3 red days here, and I think if this thing gets right around 30, 35, I think we're seeing some heavy buying come in, heavy support. So I think right now is a perfect time to be looking at VISM. I have absolutely no position right now, but we'll be looking next week to possibly be getting in for another run to test these areas and possibly break and hold these 55 level, 60 level, and if it could do that, maybe we can see close to 80 to a penny on this thing. But really like VISM going forward. Decent volume. If we look at the security details on this play, share structure is not the greatest, but it's not horrible. So this is definitely a play I can get on board with. If you look, I mean, it's Pink Current. They have a verified profile. They're independent directors on the company. They do have contracts. This is a cybersecurity play. So this is one I do prefer over JPEX. Not saying that I don't like JPEX at all. Maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe it's something that, but any stuff like I stay away from that. There's plenty of other opportunities to make money in other areas than having to deal with somebody that's gonna. I won't get into it. I don't trust them. Now another play, cybersecurity that really hasn't been mentioned at all as far as the cybersecurity play, and that's SWRM. Maybe not at the forefront of cybersecurity, but definitely has a decent share structure. They have not been diluting, as they say, over the past couple months. We can take a look at the chart here. This thing is absolutely beaten up, and I think that I can't see it going much lower than where it's at now. I mean, we take a look here. We can zoom out. Excuse me. Zoom out to the year. I mean, we're at lows, man. So any good news, I think, could possibly turn SWRM around. This is one I had a position, cut my position, and looking for a re-entry. If this thing gets in the 30s, I'm definitely re-adding SWRM. So this is one that it hasn't really been talked about. Now, if you want to get into other ones, we haven't really talked about this much on the channel at all, except for comparing it to CyberLux, and that's Dark Pulse DPLS. This is another one that you could be looking at as far as military contracts, getting some military spending. In fact, if I recall, like I said, I'm not a big follower of this play, but I noticed that there was a publication that came out, top defense penny stocks, and this is definitely one of them. So, I mean, it's got good leadership. They've got good products. I mean, the share structure is not the greatest, but it's good for a trade. And, you know, this is definitely one to keep your eye on. If we want to get into a little oil and gas, I mean, I could just give you, I mean, NXMR, I mean, now, I'd like to see these guys get their, they got their pink current back down to 8 cents. I mean, this one can run. This one can, I mean, look at the share structure on it, 41 million. Making moves. They're into crypto, oil and gas. So, I mean, if you take a look at the chart, last 6 months, this thing got smashed when it went to a yield all the way down to 5.5. But you can see with the only 41 million in volume, it doesn't take to get this thing moving much. So this is another one I would definitely have on my radar. And again, I know I'm not making any fans, you know, talking ill upon other other stocks, but you know, I'm done playing the middle. I'm just going to tell you the way it is. And if you don't like it, don't follow me. C'est la vie. We'll see you later. I really don't care. But I ain't here to please people. I'm here to tell you the truth. And if you don't like it, then bounce. The next one, a crypto play, ICOA. They have Dr. Vin will be on CNBC, I believe, sometime next week. Should get some eyes on this play. If we take a look here, this thing has rebounded very nicely from these half penny lows. This has been the area, as you can see, on 3 occasions right here. Comes down here and this thing bounces. So, you know, always now up here, I think we need to break these penny and a half area, I think, to really start getting any momentum and getting, you know, start pushing towards 2, 3, you know, if we can start getting this thing moving. But I think with the attention that it's going to garner, and I mean, this is a real company doing real things. I mean, this is not you're not waiting on a company to be rolled in. You're not waiting for a merger. You're not waiting for anything. I mean, this company's the real deal here. So again, not the greatest share structure, but definitely something I'd be watching going into next week. And I'm going to go over some other plays that haven't had much attention, but I really think these are plays that you have to watch. One of my favorites, now I love DUTV. I think this thing over the next few weeks has a lot of potential. My favorite under the radar stock right now is UCPA, United Communications. Now this thing was up only 6% on Friday. Closed at 0.013. You take a look at the chart. This thing's consolidating right here, and then between that 125 and 16 area, you know, and we're not getting much volume there. But as you can see, this thing can really move. We had a run last week when this company, or 2 weeks ago, United Communications was 70% of the company was bought by Making Science. So they acquired 70% of the company. This company has approximately 40 million in revenues. This is a let's see here. This is a European company. They do over 40 million in revenues. The company has independent directors, absolutely no dilution. They've partnered with Salesforce, Meta, Google, Amazon, the Amazon advertising, Adobe Analytics, existing clients they have, Bacardi, BMW, still Pfizer, HelloFresh, and many more. And basically what the company Making Science was looking for was Trey Kroner, their subsidiary. They have media clients in all of Europe. So Hey, look, this thing has been accumulated for quite a few days, and you can see also that they have independent directors as well too. Now, this play here in particular, you can see when this thing was running, it would get beat up. I mean, it had its big runs, but 2 big days, had its pullback day, but then you can see it got beaten up, and every time late day, millions of shares were being bought. Then it popped up and pulled back down, and millions of shares were being bought at a specific time during the day. That tells that right around 2 to 2:30, people were buying. Somebody was buying millions of shares for 3 days. That tells me somebody's accumulating for something in the future, and they were buying around 2 cents and above 2 cents, all the way up into the 250 area they were buying. So somebody was accumulating a heavy amount of shares, and you could see it can move because this thing was trading around 120 late in the day, and then it took someone bought a couple 100,000 and it traded all the way up to 70. So this thing can move, and once news comes in, I'm telling you, this is a 5 to 7 cent stock. So to me, if you're looking for a long-term play just to stash away and stick it in your pocket, UCPA and DUTV are two that I'd definitely be watching. DUTV, I'd wait for the pullback. This one's primed and ready to go. Absolutely love this play. Another one people aren't talking about much. WDRP, Wanderport, closed at 0.0038. Less than $1 million in volume. And I mean, obviously we can see when this thing gets volume, it can pop. NFT, canceling shares. They got some things going on, so I'd be waiting for some catalyst, definitely like this one. And then I'm just going to give you 2 other ones that we haven't talked about on the channel that I think you should take a look at. This one, Bell Buckle Holdings, has some catalyst, closed at a penny. Really like this thing. I think once the catalyst and news start coming out over the next week or two, we can see a retest and break of these 175, 180 highs. This thing can easily, I think, 2.5 cents in my opinion. So definitely like BLLB. And lastly, this is one of my this is a Joe Kaz special, man. If you guys aren't following my boy Joe Kaz, I'm telling you, one of the most steady, level-headed traders out here. His strategy is impeccable. He waits for these quiet, low volume days to accumulate plays that have future catalyst and low floats, and it works. It works for him. And it will work for anybody that has a little patience. So I would definitely advise Joe Kaz. I'm actually in Joe Kaz's Discord. I haven't been there. I wasn't there last week, but that's where I'll typically be. You are not going to see me very much on Twitter. Twitter is an abhorrent pile of garbage. I don't like Twitter. Never did like Twitter. So I'm not going to be posting any of my plays first on Twitter. They're going to be here on YouTube, and they're going to be, if I have ideas, they're going to be in Joe Kaz's Discord. I refuse to give them to Twitter first. I don't want to. You can say, hey, well, why don't you? I don't want to help ungrateful people. That's just the way it is. And I don't want to help stupid people either that refuse to learn. Think that the world owes them something. I don't like those type of people, and I refuse to help them. They're on their own. Not saying you need my help or anything like that, but whatever. It is what it is. But definitely like GLCO. Waiting for some catalyst on this one. This is a really good share structure. I mean, 1/3 of a penny right now. Pink Current only has about $500 million in the float. And when some news comes out, I really have a feeling this one can go. We're looking at the 35 area. If you take a look here. This thing has run all the way up into the 80s, so there's plenty of room to get going. I mean, you're not going to really even start seeing resistance till about a little under a half penny area. So you still have a 20% move, to even hit resistance if you're taking this thing now for a short swing. So definitely like this play. But going forward, I can't stress it enough. I think next week, definitely top play. Cyberlux is one of my top plays going into next week. This one, I think we need to break around that 2 penny area or that 200 moving average area. I think we need to break that and hold it with the catalyst that they have. I can't say absolutely positive, but I am very confident that this thing should be able to break that and then get a push towards that 260, 270 area, if not higher. So definitely like Cyberlux. And then DUTV. This is one that I'd be waiting for a pullback on this one. In 90, I think this thing's just a little too hot right now. And again, if you look at the chart, I mean, we had one resting day, but 3 very, very strong days. So, I mean, again, this is the stock market. Nothing goes straight up. So look for a pullback. And if this thing gets this pullback, do your due diligence, but I'm going to take advantage of it. That's what I'm going to do. If this thing drops into the low to mid 60 area, I'm going to be all over this thing. And then, basically the other plays that I went over. You want to look at oil and gas plays, gold and silver plays, anything that has to do with commodities. Cryptocurrency, that's always going to be, over the next few years, that's always going to be a hot topic and a hot subject and a hot sector. Cybersecurity, that's another one. So we haven't seen the threat, the cybersecurity threat, but keep an eye on it. I think come mid-March, I think we're going to start seeing some things. You can call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me what you will. But when you have the World Economic Forum prior to this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, threatening of a cybersecurity, threatening of a cybersecurity attack, and then when this whole Russia-Ukraine thing happens, they start deflecting what they want. I think that there's going to be a test, and I think there's going to be a cybersecurity compromise in this country come mid-March. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm dead wrong. But things are the way they are, and we just have to make the best out of them. We can't control things, and trying to control things is ridiculous. Trying to worry about things we can't control is absolutely ridiculous. All we can control is what's in front of us and our actions and how we behave and how we react to those situations. So keep your head on a swivel, be smart, trade smart, take your profits, don't chase, no FOMO, and always, let's get that money, traders.